Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday Bible sketching. My name's David Youngman. Actually, I've never introduced myself on these. Um, I think most of the people watching these know who I am, though. Um, yeah, today we're gonna do something a little different. So this is pre-recorded. I've been doing these live on Tuesdays, but I just cannot be available for it. So I'm recording this a day early, and I'll just post it at the normal time at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. As I've been doing the last couple of times, I thought I'd go through some sketches I've been doing just from the last week. These were, I know it's a little light, but these were some sketches from, I had a art critique for an art group I'm a part of, and they brought in a guest professional artist, and he gave some critiques. So just while I was sitting there waiting, listening to the critiques, I drew just a little bit of the people around there, nothing special. Here was another moment of waiting in line to pick up my son, and I was really playing with an idea of just like layers and having an atmosphere between the layers. It's messy, but this is like what the sketching stuff can be for. We focus on trying to interpret things from the Bible and just drawing ideas. We focus on just getting ideas. This is more developing some skills and how to see things differently. That was just a little bit from a life drawing group. These were from, I was just at a robotics competition with a school group that I help out with my wife, and I was just sitting and sketching some of the people there, and so that was fun. This is from church yesterday. I was sketching a bunch of the people up in the praise band, and here's like the podium, and this was kind of before service. My wife and I, we get there kind of early, and while we're waiting and the praise band is warming up, and so I'll sit there and sketch. There's a couple of sketches of the pastor and just other things during church. This was from imagination, something that was going on with the sermon. This guy carrying the Bible. Here's another little bit of sketching from church, just the stuff I was seeing on stage. I just kind of liked all the little line things of all the different stands and all that. So anyway, those were some things I was sketching. I think I'll just sketch in here today. If you don't have a sketchbook, or if you struggle with, worrying about messing up a page, making a bad page, I've heard the advice of the first page, just scribble all over it, just so you kind of get out of your mind, like, this doesn't have to be perfect. This is for throwing down whatever. And I have found this size of sketchbook, it's 5.5 by 8.5 inches, works really well for me. When it's a little bigger, I do feel more intimidated with putting stuff on it. It's easy to carry, and I've shown before, I think, this setup. Well, let's get into our verse of the day from Bible Gateway. This is Jeremiah 17:7 through 8. And again, I have not looked ahead at this. It says, "But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought, and never fails to bear fruit." That's an extremely comforting verse. That's got a lot of I like the roots, that's the word I want to use with it. Boy. You know what? I think I am going to switch over to a large page. I want to move, I guess, a little bit. This is cardstock paper, a little heavier paper than I could use printer paper. I've been really liking this pen. It's a Schaefer fountain pen. As far as fountain pens go, it was very cheap. It was like $8 on Amazon. I had heard of, someone recommended this. Actually, I think it was, shoot, what is his name? There's a book, it has Thomas Kincaid. It's Sketching with Thomas Kincaid and, boy, I should know the other guy. Maybe I'll think of it, but they mentioned this pen, these Schaefer pens being really good fountain pens. I wish this tree was a little more crooked. There we go. Yeah, I've tried different fountain pens. I've spent only up to about $15. For some of you, you may think for a pen, that's a lot of money. But like fountain pens can go up to like hundreds of dollars. And then you take it to they're called a nib meister, and they will customize the tip of it for you. They'll just dial it in just to what you want. But this one feels really good to me. So obviously I'm drawing a tree, playing off this roots idea. And just thinking of a stream here that's watering it, the water. Like these roots kind of come into the water. Not quite sure how to depict that. But that's the idea I want to get going here. You know what? I was just thinking of maybe having a dead tree back here. It's not near the water. No leaves on it. See if I can make it look that way. But then these trees that are near the water, they're getting that food, that nourishment. And I think I'm going to use a marker to lay in the leaves on these trees. This is kind of where, doing landscape art, sometimes it can feel like it doesn't mean much. It's like, yep, there's a pretty landscape. For me at first, I felt like, I don't get the story in a landscape painting. I don't, I just, I like drawing people because it's like there's so much story and expression and let's see, let's get a darker one here. But like this right here, we're talking about, they will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Maybe I'll implement that idea of heat. There's meaning to this. I'm basing it off of this verse that brings this landscape idea to having a meaning to it. Sketching from landscapes, that is, like I said, I wasn't into it at first. but now I just love being outside. Really more painting. I love going out and painting. I've been missing it this winter. My trees are too evenly spaced out. It's a common thing. You gotta cluster them a little bit. So I know we have this dead tree here. These other ones are much more full and alive. See how I even made that little bloop right there? Blip, whatever. You don't worry about that stuff. Especially if you're a watercolor artist. You make little splashes and things, and you go, oh no, it's ruined. What am I going to do? But you just leave it. Somehow it can turn into something beautiful and give your art piece character, and sometimes it makes this magical, you would never have thought to put a mark there, but then because it's there, you're like, oh, that looks so good, and someone will see it and be like, how did you think of making that kind of mark? And you just play it up well, I just practice and I know what I'm doing. Or you can just say, it was an accident. See how I'm using the darker marker for these more front trees. I used a little lighter for the back there. But now we're really developing a scene here. I'm going to keep it pretty light over here. I was talking about when heat comes. Even though right now we're kind of excited about the heat, craving it. Then it'll get so hot, then we'll be like, oh, it's too hot. And we're going to want colder weather again. Let's see if we can really create a nice sunlit effect here. Let's flip over to this one. See, I'm not even drawing leaf shapes or anything. I'm just trying to get the tone in there, get the right values laid in. Alright, kind of want to go back and I don't have my brush pen out. Is it in here? I'll just fill it in with this one. Give a little more accent to this dead tree. Just a reminder of when you're not fed, you don't have access to that water. The plant withers and dies. So what is feeding ourselves? What is this referring to? This says, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking well, of course, prayer and reading your Bible and being surrounded by other believers. This one says, but blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. So how do we get those things? For me, it is the prayer. It is the reading the Bible. So it's not the reading the Bible and the prayer and the going to church, but those just have the effect of they can and should and hopefully are developing that sense of your trust and confidence in the Lord. And if they're not, maybe you need to change things up a little bit. What if I made a root very intentionally coming down to the water here. We'll have another one over here. I probably have mentioned before, I've been doing a Bible reading plan, and that's often a challenging thing to get into. But I've been reading the Bible in a year, and if you've ever done like practicing something like an instrument, and you know, you have those days where it's just hard, you don't want to do it, but you know, if you're a kid, your mom or dad makes you do it, and you're like, why do I have to do this? But then you have those exciting days where you see growth, you see things working and just coming together, and you would not have those days without that like daily doing something. You know, because it's not going to happen just randomly. Like you needed those other experiences of challenging your skills, challenging your mind, developing certain new habits of maybe how you think of things, or habits of like your skill, maybe in your hands, like for an instrument. And then, you know, you have this day where it just clicks, and oh man, it feels so good. I kind of have that experience with reading the Bible. Like, there are days I don't want to read it, and some days I don't, and then I have to catch up. But, like this morning was just a real pleasant day. Yesterday, too. I was just so happy to get up. It's the first thing I do. Go and read the Bible, and I was excited about it. You know, nothing profound happened. I just, you know, it set my mind on good things. You know, like this verse, starting your day with a verse like this, that when you are planted in the Lord, you're good. You're all set. No worries. I know that can be a challenging thing when you face, you know, kind of daily hardships. You know, physical pains or something. And it's just like, when will this go away? Well, this says, trust in the Lord. Hold on to that trust. Hold on to that confidence. Something I get really from reading the Old Testament is just how much, you know, like a plague will come in. God, you know, sends a plague in because people aren't doing the right thing. But at the same time, he protects his people. He, like the people who maybe die from the plague, it's very strategic. And I guess for me, that has built a lot of confidence in me lately, just being fed that idea, understanding of like, when we are God's people, like, he watches out for us. He's so strategic with us. And like, maybe around us, people are, you know, bad things are happening to people around us. You know, think of the Israelites coming out of Egypt, and, you know, like all the firstborn children dying, and just imagine what the Israelites would have been thinking. You know, they're hearing of all these other firstborn children dying. They probably were worried, like, is my kid gonna die? Did I do the right thing? You know, we don't think about that too much. You know, what's going on here? But when we read it, we're like, yeah, of course. You know, all the Israelites. You know, you do the right thing, the Passover, blood on the doorpost. You're good. You got it. You know, we read it and we think, yeah, makes sense. But if you think about it a little more, what that would have felt like or been like, they were probably a little worried. I would have been. Alright, this is a fun landscape. It's it'd be interesting to go out somewhere and find a place. I actually have a river in mind, or a creek. I guess it's a river that maybe looks like this. That has these roots, and really try to accentuate those roots. That's one thing I kind of look at here. Add these shadow lines that really kind of draw your attention to these roots. And I have no idea how to play that up in the water. I'm just gonna leave it. But I'll go on to another drawing here. Let's do some brown tone paper. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. I'm going to do another tree drawing. Do you hear that? It has no worries in a year of drought. There is drought. But this tree never fails to bear fruit. A message that the Lord has been speaking to me. I'm kind of hesitating to share this, but the message the Lord has just really been speaking to me a lot lately is like, He still provides. Nothing has changed. Like, He's always been a great provider for me. But now there are things that are challenging, like our economy. Prices are going up and stuff, and it can stir like, oh, what are we gonna do? And we can easily start thinking like, I wish I moved that down a little more, but we can easily start to think, worrisome thoughts, kind of like almost thinking like God can't handle this. But He just keeps speaking to me like, I'm the same. Like, nothing's any different. I am still the great provider, the great healer, the great source of hope. So we've got this land of drought. Yeah, I want this kind of like real booming. Oh, I need to get these lines in here just to feel this. Oh, and let's take some, this is just a real light marker. It's so interesting on this paper. See, it's almost like it's just making the paper wet. Oh, I'm trying to see if I can create a very dry texture here. Hard edges. Add some more of these dead trees in here. Branches on the ground. just hold on to this is not us when you are in the Lord. Being in the Lord is easy. It's hard and it's easy. It's basically a choice. That's how I understand it, at least. You're just kind of faced with, do you choose the Lord? If yes, there you go. Done. I don't remember the scene, but somebody was talking about it recently from the Chosen series, and apparently Jesus, the Jesus character, says something like, I think he was explaining to Nicodemus, he just was saying, it's easy. Like, don't overthink this. You know, the Pharisees are all like, or those different stories of people just wondering, like, why are people following Jesus? And what's his trick, you know? I think, you know, there's that story of kind of more the magician guy, sorcerer guy. You know, and he's wondering, how did you do it? And it's like, I don't do it. God does it. The Father does it. Oh, I could play up these trees a lot more, but you know, a little bit of horizon line, a little bit of mountainous, rocky. That's an interesting rock. All right. Now I want to just bring some deep color to, is this my darkest? I'm going to just go all the way to my darkest marker here. So it's just like rich. Like this tree is not fazed by this drought. It is completely healthy. God provided some little water stream under the earth or something to, just in his mighty, unlimited power, he has allowed this tree to flourish. Not necessarily adding any fruit to it, but let's add some white highlights. If you haven't tried doing the white pen thing, it's really fun. It just feels good laying those white lines in there. And I mean, even just these strokes of light. Looks like we're about out of time. Sorry I couldn't make this a live event. I may have to do this again coming up here soon. I have another Tuesday I won't be able to do this. I might be able to figure out something, but I think I want to fill in the tree trunk a little more, just to make it really stand out. Okay, the sparkling tree. Alright, so today was landscape drawing. Let's just review that verse. I don't remember reading this verse before. I mean, this is the Bible. I mean, this is common message. Nothing new here. Sorry if you can't read it on the screen. It's probably kind of small, maybe a little blurry, but this is Jeremiah 17, 7 through 8. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit. So I hope you can hold on to that today and be joyful and trust and go to the Lord in prayer. Ask and you will receive. Is that what it says? Knock and the door will be opened. But just come to the Lord with everything. And thanks again for joining me, and I will see you here again next week. Bye.